Paradox. All right, guys, it's Jahlon with the Paradox Gaming Network, and it's the end of December. Intrepid Studios just gave us our Ashes of Creation update, so let's just jump into this like 40 minutes of content they gave us, and we'll do all our discussions in there. It has been a long road for Intrepid Studios so far, and honestly, they aren't anywhere near the finish line yet. It's been just over 4 years since we saw Alpha Zero in December of 2017. The following December, we saw the Battle Royale for Apocalypse. And now this year, we are just finishing up the first alpha testing session. In order to showcase something of that testing, Steven just showed off this Alpha 1 preview. It's about 40 minutes worth if you want to see the whole thing. Most of it is them spent fighting an open world raid bosses, because they're showing you the twin bosses intended for a 40-man raid group right around that level 10 mark. Now, if you don't realize how significant this is, it's a set of bosses designed for low-level content, meaning there's probably some deliberate timeline for how long it's going to take you to level. From this video, we can definitely see the world taking shape, and we have to remind people this is a developmental alpha. This is not an Asian import game where the game is done and has been out for a year and has had several post-launch polishes, and they're just translating the game language and the monetization model. This is still raw, still in design gameplay, and that's the footage we're seeing. The good news is Intrepid will be taking a break. They have managed to put the Alpha 1 out, and now they're going to be taking a break from 24 December through 4 January of next year. When they come back, one of the big things for starting off next year is going to be another hiring push, and they're looking to onboard 30 new staff members. So if you know people in the game industry who'd like to work in California, make sure you get them and encourage them to pass on their resumes to Intrepid. And then once those 30 people are on board, they're going to start doing some real developmental pushes now that they have a lot of the processes in place and they've got a lot of data from this December's testing session. I will remind you that the cosmetics that are currently on sale, those will be on sale through 13 January, a little bit longer than normal, a little bit longer than intended, but that fits nicely in with the break that Intrepid's getting. I also want to remind people that the creative director letter is going to be coming out next year. It's going to be coming out on 7 January. And usually I would say that would make the letter late because it's supposed to be in the fourth quarter. But honestly, this is going to give Steven a chance to, one, actually take a break for the holidays, which he needs. And two, he needs to have some time to recap 2020. And there's a lot of information they gained during this testing. And if we want a meaningful creative director's letter, Steven has to have time to put that together. Now, usually I break out the question and answer session differently, but this time I want to just stay inside the footage. I'll put some notes up on the screen. We did find out about Guild Wars. Somebody asked if there was going to be a way for there to be permanent Guild Wars. And we always knew that there was going to be definitive victory conditions, but it's good that we got a reconfirmation that some of these key things haven't changed. After all, you did see Guild Wars being declared in the alpha testing in that screenshot that Steven showed. One new thing that we didn't have direct confirmation of was you can invite people to your guild or add them to your friends list across Vera. You do not need to get your entire guild in one place at one time. Now, this is good because remember, players can choose which starter area they're going to go to, and any race can enter the world of Vera through any gate. One thing about friend invites that people have been asking about is right now, when you invite somebody to your friends list, you're only adding an individual character. They are contemplating the idea of being able to add entire accounts, but given that they want to have espionage and spies in Ashes, they're not quite sure how that's going to work out. We did find out that during node sieges, even if your node is under siege, it will continue to earn XP. This is a good soundbite. It wasn't something we had definitively. Plus, it lets us know that you can't declare siege on a node just to slow it down. Speaking of node sieges, that's inside of the PvP theme box, and we found out today that there are no death penalties inside themed events. So you will not be getting death penalties if you die in a siege, in a war, in a caravan raid, or when participating in arenas. One follow-up question I need to ask Steven is about bounty hunting and the enemy of the state mechanic, because we know there are certain death penalties intended in those, but we can't infer anything from today's comment. We just have to ask that follow-up question. I will say I was kind of shocked when Steven said about daily login rewards. And I do want to give Steven like mad props today. He immediately made an executive decision to make January's dev discussion about login rewards. Now remember, anything that Intrepid does is going to be not pay to win. So any login reward, any daily login calendar, every account would get. But it seemed that Steven definitely was surprised by some of the comments he was seeing in Twitch, and it was good to see him just immediately off the cuff make a decision that, yep, we're going to talk about that in January. We did get some questions about customization, and somebody was asking if each individual race would have their own individual fighting style. Jeff said that this would be great to have, as I think we all would agree, but they would need several hundred animators to make that happen. They need to use whatever they can, wherever they can, in order to get to the finish line. Although Jeff did say there will be a few racial specific animations that will help to maybe give your race a little bit of a flavor. On the idea of races, there are no specific racial mounts. Each mount that you get, and remember, in Ashes, you will be getting your mount early, right in that first initial starter area, that will be reflective of that area. So it's not a racial mount, it's an area of the world mount. Finally, the day-night cycle while looking at the stars. There's a lot of stuff Jeff wants to do with this and what happens when you look at the night sky. However, this becomes a return on investment sort of deal. How much bang for your buck can you get and not inundate yourself with a bunch of scope creep for a very small return on investment? Finally, as a reminder, the next leg of the testing cycle is not until February of next year, so you have lots of time to stay tuned, hang out, maybe get yourself educated on Ashes of Creation if you have a lot of questions, if you're new to the community. And with that, guys, that is it for today. Not a lot of meat in the forms of Q&A or other design updates. We did get some really good looking looks at the Firefox mount, the Plaguebringer cosmetic, so I suggest you check those out. Until then, guys, it is Christmas week. Want to get this out to you, and then I'm actually going to shut down for a few days and spend time with family. This will be my last Ashes of Creation video for the year. I will be doing a 2020 recap and a 2021 look ahead. Should be out the first week of January. Until then, guys, you take care. You have a Merry Christmas. You have a Happy New Year, and I will see you next time. So what we have here is an end screen. I'd like to say a big thank you to all those names scrolling up the right-hand side of the screen. Those are my sponsors over at Patreon. Wouldn't be able to pay the bills without them. For the rest of you, there's videos. Follow the channel, like, subscribe, do all those social media things.